Happy Saturday, everybody. Welcome back into another edition of Prime Sports World. I'm your host, David On Point Huffman. Right there is my co-host, Mr. T.J. Hopkins. Please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. On today's show, we talk about the in-season tournament. We're going to be looking at the top 10 rookies taken in the 2023 NBA draft, how their season has fared so far. And we're going to do a little bit of staple here at Prime Sports World and the GOAT Talk. But welcome into the show. Welcome into the show, TJ. Happy Saturday, my friend. How's it going?
Well, I haven't been to sleep yet, so that's always fun.
Oh, so you're having a good time. Without wasting any time, let's just jump right into the NBA in-season tournament. So Lakers-Pacers going head-to-head in Las Vegas tonight. That game kicks off at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Lakers beat the Suns, and they shellacked the New Orleans Pelicans on Thursday night to get here. Pacers survived the Celtics and the Bucks to get here. I know a lot of people want to talk about the end of that Lakers-Suns game. What was your take on just that play in particular, that if you know what I'm talking about, with loose ball, timeout?
You know my opinion on it. The ref got it wrong. The ref who granted the timeout couldn't even see what was going on. All he saw was LeBron calling timeout. So the ref on the other end who saw everything should have told him what was going on, unless the ref that I'm talking about, like the black ref, unless he was like, the head official of the crew and what he say, because there's that one official that like whatever he says goes. That like in baseball it's called the crew chief, but I don't want to use that term in basketball because that's not the lead official.
I think it's just the lead. Yeah, lead official.
Lead official. All right, so they went back and they replay was like, oh, the ball was pinned to his leg, and that's when I'm like, bro, like, do you know how you gotta like micro organize that to be like, all right, at this point the ball's pinned to his leg. That's when LeBron's calling timeout. Like, no, bro, like it was a loose ball. The ball was still in play. Then LeBron got called the timeout. Then he was granted the timeout, which was like, if everybody's saying you're wrong, then just acknowledge you're wrong. Don't justify it and then double down on it. This is what causes people to say that sports is rigged. When you do stuff like that, like, because now you got to come out and defend. Because like you hate to say that you're wrong. Now you got to come out and do what you did. You're like, oh, the ball was pinned to Reeves' leg, therefore that establishes control.
But that's never been an established way of controlling basketball, like having the ball
exactly.
pinned to the leg. Yeah, it's a bad look. The Lakers could have still won that game. They were up by 2 at the time of that particular call. They make the free throw, then they win the game. Suns never score again. But hate to see a really good basketball game be marred by one terrible call. And then on the other side, the Pacers, you beat the Celtics and the Bucks, and back-to-back games. Those are 2 pretty good, pins to have on your team. Like, Indiana, we beat Milwaukee and Celtics. The Boston Celtics do get here. Supposedly top tier in the in the NBA, at least in the Eastern Conference. And Tyrese Halliburton has been absolutely insane. Even if the Pacers were to lose this game tonight, I think he should still win the MVP.
Of the
That might be a
tournament,
hot take, but I don't think he will. But I think he should still win the MVP.
of the tournament, are
Yeah,
they?
the tournament. Yeah, the tournament.
Is that a like? I'm not
Yeah,
being
yeah.
like that's the
There's
thing.
going to be there'll be an MVP.
It's a
Yeah,
tournament MVP. Like, I'm not
yeah,
being fine. Like that's the thing. Okay.
yeah. That's for sure. That's for
Um,
sure. I think.
excuse me. I honestly think it depends on how he plays this game. You already know, like they just like whatever reason they can to glorify LeBron James, like he just needs that much more adulation. They're gonna give it to him.
I mean, he
Uh,
was really good in that game against the Pelicans. Like 30
the
points.
whole
He missed 9 of 12 for 30 points. Like that's
the
some pretty
whole
good stuff
team
right there.
the whole team was good against the Pelicans. David, the
It's
game
true. It's true. It's true. They beat him by 30. I mean,
but no, like it's like I said, like they don't like whatever more reasons they have to glorify LeBron James, they're gonna find them and they're gonna give it to him. Like as much as I would like for you, as much as I like your mindset of, hey, Tyrese Halliburton has been out of his mind in this tournament. Like they haven't lost a game. They
yeah.
have not. They have not lost.
They're 6-0 in this tournament.
They have not. I don't know about
The Lakers haven't lost a game either,
but at the same time, it's almost like, oh, you're the Lakers. It's like we expect you to not lose a game, right? Like everybody's healthy. LeBron, like, well, everybody that matters on your team is healthy. LeBron's healthy. AD's healthy. Reeves is healthy. Rui's healthy. D'Angelo Russell's healthy. Who am I missing? Jared Vanderbilt, he's back. Yeah, we want you to be healthy. This Indiana team, like, come on, man. Like, it's Indiana. It's
yeah.
small. It's small market Indiana, like Indiana.
So that brings us to who actually wins the game tonight. Who do you got winning tonight?
Indiana.
I'm taking the Pacers too. I think the Pacers. I think they're a scrappy bunch. I think they want this more than the Lakers do. Even though LeBron obviously wants to be the first player to win, in-season tournament MVP.
No, like again, like this.
The Pacers. I mean, Tyrese Halliburton. It goes back to like the beginning of the season where the Indiana Pacers were like, "We want to win this tournament," and they backed it up big time.
Like this again. The first 6 minutes of this game is going to dictate the flow. Like I swear to God, if we watch this game and Miles Turner gets two quick BS fouls out of nowhere, it's going to be that type of game. Because like we've seen Anthony Davis, we know who Anthony Davis struggles against. It's other big men who can match him on the other end, right? Like we've seen, we see him go off against the lesser tier power forwards and teams. But when you got a big man that can match him tit for tat, he kind of struggles a little bit. And Miles Turner can Miles Turner can definitely match him tit for tat. Whatever AD can do, Miles Turner can do.
Yep.
Let's be real.
But yeah, I'm also going to take the Indiana Pacers. I think they're just going to be scrappier. I think they want this more. Moving on, let's talk about the in-season NBA, the in-season tournament as a whole. Some kind of big numbers here. So national TV games for all of the in-game tournaments during even the play-in round robin, whatever they called it. Viewership up like 93% of people watching these games. Viewership, people in the stands, actually showing up in person, also up across the board. Whether it's just to see the new floors or the competitive basketball. Also, every single team had a point differential was closer. Like if they lose game, but they were still closer than it was in their regular season games. They did a good job. Like a lot of problem people have with the NBA is that the regular season is too long. There's a lot of meaningless games during the regular season, but this kind of in-season tournament kind of made the regular season matter. And
it prevents. I mean, like I get it. It's still early because it's only December. Like it's 2 months into the season, but in a way, it does kind of prevent tanking because these games count towards your regular your win total.
Outside of tonight's game,
which is stupid, right? Like that's my own. How does every game count but this one? Makes no sense.
So I know you don't play fantasy, but but I play fantasy basketball, sort of. Like the players, like I just kind of start my team. I don't really do a whole lot else with it. I'm not like like to do it like football. I saw it last night. I was like, I'm losing this matchup, so I picked up a bunch of Pacers and a bunch of Lakers to play in the tournament tonight. None of them count because they don't consider this like these. I don't quote me on this, but I don't even think the points that players score in this game will count towards their season totals because this game is technically not on the schedule.
And this is the same issue they're having with the play-in tournament. It's like you got to categorize this stuff as something, especially because you're the NBA. Like it's a hit. It's a hit. Like you're gonna do this again next year and for perpetuity as long as it's beneficial to you. Like it's a hit. So you got to start like you got to classify this as something. All right. Same thing with the play-in tournament. You got to.
I mean, they could have easily have just counted this as the 82nd game, like worked the schedule and just had all the other teams in the because nobody's playing tomorrow. Like there's no games on tomorrow whatsoever. You could have just had the rest of the league play tomorrow and have this being the 82nd game and have it just count towards the same as everything else.
Yeah, but my thing is that the goal with anything is to leave it better than what you found it. And Adam Silver, since taking over as commissioner, has done just that. Like he's handled adversity greatly. Like his first thing as commissioner was the Donald Sterling situation, right? Like you're the brand new commissioner. Oh, and the first thing you got to do is to decide what to do about this historically racist owner. Like now that it's public knowledge that he is like seriously racist. Like it is, yeah. And how do you handle that? Boom, lifetime ban. You're not allowed in the league ever again, and you got to sell your team. All right, what was the next what was the next bit of adversity? Pandemic, shut down. All right, well, we're going to shut down and then we're going to create this atmosphere in Orlando where we can finish our season and still start next season on time.
Yep.
Innovation, the in-season tournament. Like, we got to give...
Like the play-in tournament, I mean.
Play-in tournament, right. The play-in tournament, then the in-season tournament. We got to give Adam Silver his flowers while we still can.
Yeah, I really think that this like made the regular season matter. I know there's a lot of people poo-pooing on an naysayer, but it made NBA regular season games matter, and that's difficult to do in the NBA sometimes. And so, and also,
and on top of that, we got possible expansion coming with a team in Vegas and a team in Seattle.
Yep.
Like Adam Silver got to get his flowers. All right, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Moving on from there, let's talk about players that kind of maybe broke out a little bit. I'm not sure because Tyrese Halliburton wasn't already an all-star, but do you think that any other players kind of came into their own during this tournament that you kind of as you were watching it?
They didn't win it. They didn't get far, I should say, but watching the Orlando Magic as a team was kind of like, hey. Because, like you said, like in-season tournament games, some of them were nationally broadcasted, and it's a lot of teams. Like a lot of the smaller market teams don't get put on national TV like that. Like
Orlando's never on TV, but they're like a top 5 seed in the Eastern Conference right now.
Right, like Orlando might get 8 national televised games a year, and that's pushing
if that.
All right, and this is a team with a #1 overall draft pick in Paolo Banchero, a top 5 draft pick in Franz Wagner, all right, a top 10 draft pick in Jalen Suggs, like a top 15 draft, a first round draft pick in Cole Anthony. Like it's draft picks, it's first round pick galore in Orlando, and seeing this young team basically come together after just 3 years of straight losing is amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty great to watch. But yeah, I think Tyrese Halliburton, he was already an all-star, but he's taking his game to a whole nother level, especially in the last two games, going against Boston Celtics and the Milwaukee Bucks. He really came
But
into his own, especially
like,
with that dagger three there against the Milwaukee Bucks.
it's
That was
him, but like, it's a guy like Obi Toppin who could never really find a
was
role
a
in New York.
cast off with the Lake of Knicks, just cast off as traded for 2 second-round picks.
Like he can never find a role in New York, and you put him in Orlando. I mean, in Indy, and he blossoms. It's Aaron Neesmith, who was buried on the bench in Boston, goes to Indy, and it's like, hey, I got a role for you, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
So
it's
yeah, the in-season tournament has been a pretty good success. Looking at some more stats here. So yeah, stars really showed up for this in-season tournament. Donovan Mitchell averaged 39 points a game in the two in-season tournaments that he played. This is in the round robin round. De'Aaron Fox averaged 36 points per game. Kevin Durant 36. Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets, even though they went 2-0, he averaged a triple double during the in-season tournament. Jordan Clarkson. Largest point differential compared to like his regular season to the in-season tournament. He scored 37 points in his the third game for Utah. Sarge also put in 20 points in the in-season tournament. Minutes played by the players increased across the league. So all of the major players basically played more minutes in this tournament because it mattered to them. It's just good to see the players,
because
have this matter.
You want to be a part of history.
Yeah.
Right? Like on the good side. You want to be a part of the good side of history. Like you want to be the first. You want to say, hey, they started this new thing and I was the first to win it. And just a little bit of an incentive of $500,000 is $500,000. I don't care who you are.
Yeah, I mean, even you're LeBron James. I mean, that's still a ton of money.
That's a ton of like 500,000 is 500,000, and that's kind of why I think the Pacers are going to win this thing, right? Like they got like 3 or 4 two-way guys on their team. $500,000 for them, like man.
Yeah. Let's talk about what you would change for next year, if anything. I think you have to really think about considering maybe not having the games, maybe not at a neutral site. I think you picked one city that already has a team that maybe not playing in the tournament. The atmosphere in that game. I wouldn't start one of the finals games or semifinals games at like 3:00 in the afternoon, Western Standard Time. Like I was like boothing my 6:00 show, and like there was already basketball on. It was already like after halftime. Like why would you have a game start that early? Nobody's watching that.
I think that would probably be the only thing. Like have them have both games played in the prime time setting. Again, like we can have our reasoning all we want. Like we can say it's because of Thursday night football. We can say it's because of this. Like yeah.
But I mean, they had a game going directly up against Monday.
That's what I'm saying. But it's
I want to hear that.
That's what I'm saying. But it's like 2:00 in Vegas.
And not to mention, it's the Steelers and the Patriots, two football teams that both starting their backup quarterbacks. I guess you have to plan this stuff way ahead of time, so you can't exactly change it.
Right, but at the same time, we can say that all we want. Like we can clown Thursday night football all we want. The proven fact in America is this: football is king.
Yeah, if it's on, people will watch it.
If it's on, people like they might bitch and complain, but guess what? You're still gonna watch it. Yeah. That being said, the only thing I would change is, hey, just like you said, just push it back to a later start time. I'm like, it's 2:00 in Las Vegas. Who the fuck's at this game? Nobody.
Yeah, they say it was pretty empty. Very little energy.
And then on top of that, when you get to the Laker Pelicans game, it was basically just another Laker home game. That crowd in Vegas was so pro Lakers. It was like it was borderline disgusting. It was just like, oh my god.
Well, I mean, New Orleans Pelicans, they don't have a lot of fans anyways, and I imagine their fans don't travel all that well, even if the fans that they do have. No offense to Pelican fans. I'm sorry if you are a Pelicans fan, you're diehard, and you traveled to Vegas to watch your team. I'm sure there are people out there that did that, but I would imagine that number is pretty low.
I mean, well, yeah, everybody's fan base compared to
The
I would,
Lakers, full
well,
of dicks.
I'm gonna call them the big four. Yeah, like you said, two of them: the Lakers, the Knicks, the Celtics,
Boston.
the Bulls. Like compared, like if you compare everybody's fan bases to those four fan bases, you're gonna be pretty disappointed because
Yeah,
for the most part, everybody else's fan base is kind of fair weather, man.
yeah.
Like it is what it
Like
is.
if their team's solid, they'll show up. But if,
That's
like,
shut up.
but
Like
if you're rolling out the Bulls start lineup every game, the people aren't
but
going to those games.
But the crazy part is, like, even when the Bulls suck, they sell out. Even when the Knicks
I know.
suck, even when the
Yeah,
Knicks suck, they sell out and they
that's.
travel
I mean,
well.
that's a lot of that has to do with like the atmosphere of the Mecca, being there.
Like, hey,
But
it is what it is. So, like, yeah, if I would change anything, it was just like, hey, if you're gonna have two semifinals games on the same day, the first game is not being played at 2 o'clock
yeah,
in Las Vegas.
um,
I don't mind the neutral site. I don't mind the neutral
yeah,
site.
I don't hate it. I wish they would have kind of done. I wish they would have made like more effort to make it look because it looked a lot like the Bulls court. Like when I was watching it, like it looked a lot like the Bulls court that they used during their tournament games. By the way, smash hit on having the special courts and the special jerseys. People,
Okay.
the social media presence, just the people going to the game and just posting stuff about the new courts and the stuff. That was a slam dunk idea by the NBA.
I I wonder. So like, my only question for them is like, because like if you were to go on social media when they one when they announced the in season tournament, and two like the first few games, you still had a lot of fans saying, "I still don't get it. I still don't get the in season tournament. I still don't see the point." So like, I wonder if fans like at what point the fans get to a point of, "Oh, I get it now." Like, how many games did it? Like, that's kind of like the question I would have for I guess fans or like I don't know who I would ask that question to though. That's the thing. I think yeah, it would have to be the fans because like y'all are the ones that were confused. It's like
Yeah, yeah.
my initial question would be like yeah, like at what point did you realize like okay, oh I get it now.
Yeah, I mean, you're just trying to add some of the European flair, like what they do with the World Cup, into the
Well,
National
it's not
Basketball
just that.
Association.
It's not just that. Like the WNBA, they have a in season. They call it the Commissioners Cup. They have their own they have their own version of this, and that version is the Commissioners Cup is like 3 maybe 4 years old. So they've been doing that.
I didn't even know that.
See, yeah,
But final thoughts. Yeah, I've enjoyed the in-season tournament. I think it made the regular season a regular season that can seem like a slog, especially during this time during the regular season before the trade deadline, where you kind of treading water. I think it made those games matter. I think it made the NBA a little bit more relevant. Viewership obviously loved it. Viewership up. People in the game stadium up. So keep going with the NBA. Let's move on to the rookie class, 2023 NBA rookie class. Let's just talk about each guy here, and then we can kind of talk about some outliers, some guys you're watching. Let's talk about first of all Victor Wembanyama, obviously drafted by the Spurs. Right now,
yeah.
he's averaging 19 points, 10 rebounds, 3 blocks. He's played in 19 games. I
Mm-hmm.
have to 19 games. What have you seen out of Victor so far for his first 20 games? He's played in all but 2 of the Spurs games so far this season.
Obviously he's what you call it. He's struggling where I said he would struggle. Right, the physicality of the NBA. The every time he brings the ball down, it's eight. It feels like 20 arms are surrounding him and reaching for the ball. He's easily, and I mean easily moved off his spot because he has no mass at all. Shooting, struggled at shooting. He struggled
Yeah,
shooting.
43% from the field from just all over. He's shooting only 25% from the 3-point line. Hasn't been any better in his last 10 games. Actually shooting it worse from the field across the board, except for 3-point percentage, which is pretty solid.
Free throw percentage.
Yeah, 88% from the free throw line over the last 10 games. He did have a 2020
Yeah,
game last night against the Chicago Bulls.
he had his first 2020 game last night. Like, he had 8 rebounds in the first quarter and like 4 blocks. But at the same time, it's kind of like what I said. Like, he struggled where I said he would. but for the most part, he's fine. Like I think I watched the when he was with his team in France in that league when they did the G League showcase when he played against Scoot Henderson in G League at night. Like he said, the hardest thing that he had to deal with was playing 8-9 minute stretches in like so conditioning, right? And you kind of see it last night against the Bulls. Like it could be crucial minutes or a crucial run. Like the Bulls went on a big run in the third, right? They were down 15 coming into the third quarter. Then all of a sudden it's like they get it down to 4, and it's almost like all right, Pop's like, all right, I gotta pull him out. I gotta give him a breather. But it's like, nah, dude, you gotta get your conditioner because you gotta play through that because I can't keep taking you off the court because when I did, that's when Vucevic and Drummond and Torrey Craig and those other guys they crashed the boards and they gained possessions because you weren't
Well,
on the court.
and the Spurs have more problems than just like what Victor
Yes,
has looked like so far. Like they're not playing with a traditional point guard. If they're having Jeremy Shoshan play mostly the point forward with
and
this, mixed
Izzy
results there.
and Izzy brought that up with but he like I don't know why he don't play Trey Jones and I'm like it's got to be more to it that we're not seeing. Trey Jones is definitely his best guard defender. I don't know if
I mean,
it's like,
he's probably their best offensive guard. Period. Like I don't know. Like, but especially to run their offense. I mean, I don't.
because like he started Malachi Branham last night, and I'm like, yo, Malachi Branham is not an NBA point. College point, yeah, college point, he's fine. He's not an NBA point guard. I don't know if it was because he tried to like throw a bigger lineup at the Bulls with because I think people don't realize how big Kobe White is. Like Kobe White's 6'4".
Yeah.
Like, like
I mean, Kobe White's been in the NBA for 6 years, and so he kind of understands how the position's meant to be played. Also, Kobe White's been balling a little bit this season so far.
yeah, quietly, like
Yeah. Moving on from Victor, let's talk about Brandon Miller. A lot of people gave the Charlotte Hornets a lot of fleck when they took Brandon Miller over
I
Scoot
don't know
Henderson.
why.
But he's been pretty good this season. By the way, I created this graphic before everybody played last night, so all the numbers are probably going to be off by one. I'm not fixing it, so deal with it. Yeah, he's averaging right. He's averaging right now. He's averaging 50 points a game, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. But over his last 10 games, he's
Yeah.
shooting it at 45, 50, 86 from the free throw line. He's averaging 16 points. About the same rebound and assist, but he's been filling up the stat sheet when it comes to putting points on the board. He's kind of like getting comfortable, playing with LaMelo Ball in this offense.
He's out right now.
Yeah, well, he finally looks like he's finally getting that shooting touch. Put it on the rack a little bit and finish in transition. He's really playing extremely good basketball over the last 10 games.
Take away that Bulls game where he just couldn't hit the ocean if he was standing on the beach. Yeah, for the most part, Brandon Miller's been fine. Like obviously, like you're a rookie, you're gonna have rookie problems. Not every rookie hits the ground running, and I want people to understand that because Wemby, like again, bringing back to Wemby, the Spurs have lost, including last night. The Spurs have lost
19
16
in a
straight.
row. Yeah,
No,
16
that's
straight.
Detroit.
Sorry.
Yeah, the Spurs have lost 16 straight, right? And the first thing, like you see it online, oh, Wemby starting to concern me. Wemby might be a bust. Like, what are you watching? Like 19-10 is a bust? Like, no, the team sucks. Like,
A lot of so back to Victor just for a second. I've seen a lot of people compare him to like LeBron James' rookie season, and like I don't think you could necessarily compare what the Eastern Conference was then to what the West is now.
now,
And not to mention there were some decent pieces on those Cavs teams because they won 36 games Lebron's first season. Victor Wembanyama is not getting anywhere close to 36 wins with this Spurs team
like
right
they
now.
had what 3?
Yeah, they got 3 wins. Yeah.
And so like Brandon Miller, like obviously like a lot more onus, a lot more responsibility is on his plate now with LaMelo Ball being out for the foreseeable future with a high ankle sprain. So you can definitely tell he misses LaMelo's playmaking, his vision, his constant scoring threat because when LaMelo's out there, like if LaMelo gets it going, like now that's when you got to worry about everybody else because you gonna do everything within your power to cool him off. And while you're doing that, that's when Brandon Miller cutting to the basket, dunking it. Same thing with Miles Bridges, same thing with PJ Washington, and so on and so forth. I think Brandon Miller's gonna be fine. Just like Brandon Miller's like the real issue here is Scoot Henderson.
Yeah, Scoot
That's the guy.
Henderson. So yeah, Blazers 9 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists. He's played in only 11 games. He's bounced back and forth between there and the G League, whatever their G League affiliate is. I cannot remember it
Rip
right
City
now. But
Remix,
but the
New
problem
G
is
League
also
edition.
he is not shooting it well from the field in any kind of stretch. He's also played 12 games, not 11. Um, so yeah, he's only shooting at 33% from the field, 18% from the 3-point line. He's shooting at only 67% from the free throw line as well, averaging 9 points a game. He's played 10 of the last 7 games. His numbers in the last 7 games are even worse. With only So, but I think so. Scoot Henderson plays one of the most difficult positions in the NBA, and the transition from the G League to the NBA at the point guard position, I think, is a steep curve. If you remember correctly, even John Stockton, a Hall of Fame point guard, rode the pine for about 4 seasons before he finally became the starting point guard of that Utah Jazz
I
team.
said,
Um,
we can't do that. I think that's a different. First off,
yeah,
that's a different era.
yeah, okay, but still, like he didn't hit the ground running, and I think point guard is a difficult position. You can also make the argument maybe this G League Ignite is not the best system to becoming an NBA prospect or to
I'm not
judge
gonna
on
go.
it because
I'm not gonna go that far either.
the NBA wants these players to be good. They will
Yeah.
profit by having good NBA players in the G League system. Um, but even if you're not good in G League, because you're in the G League, you're going to continue to play. If you go to college and you stink up the joint, you're just not going to get minutes.
Right.
And there's no real fans in that building, so you're not really playing against adversity as you would be in if you played in like a college system.
No,
Um,
like
and
so like
and and
the
the
adversity.
players that have come out of that G League Ignite system, none of them have been fantastic.
Well, at the same, you also got to remember this again. If you're a high draft pick, which most of those guys are, you're going to bad situations. You're going to bad teams,
Yeah, okay.
right? So the adversity that they face is this. Like, yeah, what the G League lacks in home court advantage, I guess you could call it, like a home crowd, is this. You got everybody on the court on your team versus on your team and the team you're playing against, from the coaching staff on down, is this. They all want the same thing. G League coaches want to get called up to the next level just as much as the players do. That's the adversity. So it's like, so it's almost like everything is amplified to an extent. Like mistakes aren't the same, right? Missed shots aren't the same. Like everything's not the same because everybody's trying to get the like you're basically in the minor leagues.
Yeah,
That's what
I
you're,
mean,
you're basically in the minor league, and every mistake is therefore amplified because it's like, yo, if you can't handle this situation in a minor setting, why would I call you up why would I call you up to the show where you got 30,000 people screaming at you, right? And it's loud and it's ruckus and it's like if you can't handle it now, why would I waste my time calling you up?
and let's also be clear here. This is a really small sample size. I mean, 12
Very
games.
small. Well,
He dealt with an ankle injury that took him out for a few weeks. He's come back and he's been okay since he's returned. He scored 10 points last night. His best game was that loss to Utah in overtime where he had 17 points. He's got 40-40 from the field, which isn't abysmal, but
so now again, Scoot Henderson, bad situation, right? It's a Portland team. They're not expected to be good. I
and they haven't been good.
and
So,
they haven't been good.
but his usage rate is interesting to me too. He's not even in the. He's like the fifth most. He has like the fourth highest usage on the team. Like he's under Jeremy Grant. He's also Malcolm Brogdon, who has the highest usage rate on the team. which is
So
interesting to
like
me.
so at the same time, so think about that, right? So this is before the Damian Lillard trade, right? So we're thinking it's like, all right, he's gonna have Dame to learn from. It's gonna be him, and then Anthony. It's gonna be him, Dame, and Anthony Simons. They're gonna try to.
But I think they knew when they drafted Scoot Henderson that Damian Lillard probably wasn't going to be there past this season or
But
past
at,
the like play. He wasn't going to play this season. I
but at
think
the
they
same
already. I think they knew that.
but at the same time, it's like you have to prep. You have to prepare for, well, both scenarios. You got to prep as if he is gonna be there, and you got to prep for if he is eventually, which happened, gonna get traded. Now you got a situation of, so you just replace one veteran guard and Damian Lillard with another veteran guard and Malcolm Brogdon, right? Different level of players, nonetheless, right? Right, but nonetheless, they're both vets. So now if I'm Chauncey Billups, what's the pecking order? Who's like? I think that's the big problem in Portland. Who's the guy?
I
Izzy
think it
brought
should
up
be. I think it's Shaden Sharp,
it,
but
and that's who Izzy brought up. Izzy brought up like Shaden Sharp should be the best player on the team, and I brought up I'm like, nah, it's probably Anthony Simons because Billups, and he kind of did it against not Portland. He did it against Golden State, and it kind of cost him, right? Like he put the ball in Anthony Simons' hands, told Anthony Simons be a playmaker, make a play, hey, bring it home, and they collapsed down the stretch and they lost, right? So if you're Scoot Henderson, the one thing that we can say is this: hey, bro, just keep ball, just keep hooping, block out all the outside noise, block out as much noise as possible. Again, this is the social media age. These players are lying when they say they don't pay attention to or they don't hear outside noise. Yes, they do. They're surrounded by it. They hear that shit.
yeah. Moving on from Scoot Henderson, moving on to Amon Thompson, who played in the overtime elite when he was drafted fourth overall to the Houston Rockets. We're not going to spend a lot of time on him because he hasn't played since November. He's basically in the four games he actually played this season. He averaged only 6 points a game. 2.8 rebounds, 1.5 assists. He only shot at 20% from the 3-point line, but he wasn't really a knockdown shooter. I think Amon Thompson is more the playmaking guy, but it's really hard to even really grade what he's been like so far this season
He's also
because
in the G League.
he's played so little.
And he's in he's in the situation of, all right, damn, I can't find minutes for you. You're a high draft pick, and I don't want you just sitting here on the bench. You know what? Let me send you down to the G League where I know you can get 28 to 30 minutes a night. You can play, you can work on your craft, and if something opens up, like if a player gets hurt, knock on wood, you can fill in. So, like, let's just say like a Dylan Brooks gets hurt, knock on wood.
Yeah.
I mean, you could, hey, call up, you fill in whatever Dylan Brooks' role was. That's your role now. That's yeah. So he's in this like, and also Ime Udoka is in a precarious situation. Right, like he's also proven that he can win in this league. He did take a team to the finals as a rookie head coach, and he's one of those guys where it's like, hey, you got to cut your teeth with me. You got to earn. Like, I'm not going to play you because you were the fourth overall pick. That's probably these young dudes' problem. It's like, oh, I was a high draft pick. I should play just because of that. No, you should.
No. Yeah.
But
He was banged up to begin the season, so I think we'll see what he ends up looking like when it's all said and done, right?
And at the same time, it's early. It's do the math. It's what 23 games into the NBA season. Not even that Christmas yet.
Yeah. Moving on to his brother for the Detroit Pistons, who has played some legitimate minutes so far this season. He's played 22 of whatever games the Detroit Pistons have played, but he's played every game for the Detroit Pistons. He's averaging 10 points, 8.5 rebounds, 2.5 assists. He's shooting it at 44% from the field, 13% from the 3-point line. He's also shooting at about 66% from the free throw stripe. The numbers are not much better over his last 10 games, shooting at 45%, 11% for three, 56% from the 3-point line from the charity stripe, averaging about 27 minutes per game on a bad Pistons team with very little direction for Detroit, as they've lost 19 in a row. and we're actually talking about people doing a potential another reset of Detroit, trading away potentially Cade Cunningham as the trade deadline gets closer here. But Azar Thompson, he hasn't shot the ball well at all at the pro level yet.
But the one thing he does do well, and it's the one thing, one reason why Monty Williams keeps playing him, he will defend his ass off. Like the
Yeah,
fact,
averaging 1.3 blocks and 1 steal per game.
like bro, like if you keep that up, I'm not saying you'll win it, but you'll damn sure be in the running for DPOY as a rookie. That's impressive. And not only that, like you're doing it from a guard slash forward position. Right?
Yeah,
That
for a 6'6" guy to average at least 1.3 blocks per game, that's pretty impressive.
man. So like obviously the bigger issue with like again, another rookie, high draft pick, bad, probably the worst situation in the NBA. Like it's just all the way bad in Detroit. We expected I expected better. I'm not saying I expected a gigantic leap,
I
but
didn't think I never
I
thought
didn't
that Detroit would go an entire month without winning a game this season.
like so you know what you're not really a baseball guy, but you you know the big things, like the World Series, all that. Bruh, the Texas Rangers won more games in November than the Detroit Lions. I mean, Detroit Pistons.
What are they play one game?
They played one game. They played one game in the month of November, and they won it. They played one game in the month of November, and they won it. Right? They played one World Series game in the month of November, and they won it. Like I can repeat it till I'm blue in the face. Like Pistons, like again, this was
I
once
mean, the Pistons, the Texas Rangers have a more recent victory than the Detroit Pistons.
yeah,
They have a more, that's crazy.
yes, like right, and for emphasis, the Texas Rangers. For more emphasis, the Texas Rangers have not played in over a month. Like baseball offseason talks, free agency talks have started since the Detroit Pistons have won a game. Right, like we are officially on Shohei Ohtani watch, and the Pistons have not won a game. I can't stress that enough. Again, I wasn't expecting them to be a playoff team. I was expecting better. I was not expecting them to lose 19 in a row and counting. I don't know
Like
who
I thought they'd be a fringe playing team, like for real. Like,
and it's getting to a point where it's like if you, like obviously like you could say like for certain teams like you could say hey it's still early, there's time to write this blah, blah, blah. Not no when you get 19 games in the hole, 20 games in the hole, no, there is no climbing out of that. I don't care what you do. So like you brought up an interesting point though. So it's like and it was kind of what I brought up when we did their season preview. It's every young team needs two things. Like you need an identity and you need a pecking order. You like somebody got to be the leader, somebody got to be the head honcho, so on and so forth. If you're talking about they might hit another reset, who stays and who goes?
I mean, I don't really understand this Jaden Ivey situation either. Like, I don't really.
Well, yeah. If I'm him, I've proven I can play. Like for whatever reason, Monty Williams ain't playing him.
I'll be like, I'm out of here.
I want out.
Like, I always said that if the Bulls can like trade Zach LaVine and get Jaden Ivey and some stuff back, I would do that in a heartbeat.
Man, but I mean, obviously, Amin Thompson. I mean, Asar Thompson. Like, you just got him. You're not gonna get rid of him. He stays. I think Kay Cunningham stays. Killian Hayes gone. Jaden Ivey gone.
That guy doesn't have any trade value whatsoever. Killian Hayes.
I ain't say trade. I just said gone, bro. Like,
I think James Wiseman. That's the situation. It hasn't worked out. They have a log jam.
Marvin Bagley, right? They have Marvin Bagley gone.
Marvin Bagley has been okay this season, but
Isaiah Stewart is not like what is he like?
And they just gave him an extension, so I imagine he's going to be there. But we can talk about the Pistons till we're blue in the face. But moving on from him, let's talk about Anthony Black. He's played 20 games so far for the Orlando Magic. That's all of them, but 2 games for them. He's averaging 5.1 rebounds, 5.1 points, 2.3 rebounds, basically 2 assists. He's shooting it at 45% from the field goal percentage, 20% from threes, 67% from the free throw line. He's only playing about 20 minutes tonight for the Orlando Magic, who have probably overachieved so far this season.
So with Anthony Black, I think a big thing with him was what was it, Gary Harris getting hurt?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I think it was Gary Harris getting hurt. So the issue that Jamal Mosley, and it's a good problem to have when you got guys that's buying in and you're winning. The issue that Jamal Mosley is going to run into is keeping him keeping him engaged, keeping him involved. Because when Gary Harris comes back, obviously he's not going to be playing. What did you say, 20 minutes a night? That's going to get cut down, and
Gary Harris. I think Gary Harris is currently healthy. I think Jalen Suggs and Markel Fultz are both out right now.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. But either way, if one of those guys come back, your minutes are going to get cut down. Maybe even by half, maybe even more. Right? So the one thing he's shown that I saw it in the game against the Bulls. I think it was the game where Banchero hit the game winner. I think he had a free throw to make it a 2-possession game, and he missed. Right? You're a guard. That's the situation that you dream of as a kid. You worked your whole life up to it, and it's like, hey, if I hit this free throw, basically game over. There's nothing they can do, and you missed. And you see him on the bench, like it bothered him so much. But and you got the teammates trying to be like, hey man, it's all right, we still in it. It's da 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 da. I think that's where he has to grow as a rookie. It's like, hey, you missed. I next play. Right? Like just we all right. Like I think him missing that free throw psyched him out, and that allowed the Bulls to stay in it a lot longer than what they did. Like luckily for him, Banchero hit a game-winning shot, and that was that.
I mean, he's only 19 years old. He's
and that's the big thing. Like he's 19 years old. Like bro, like
he was one of the youngest players drafted in this year's draft class. He's going to have some growing pains to do. Orlando also is a team that's way overachieved. So maybe you thought there'd be more minutes for Anthony Black, but when you're playing for legit playoff spots, you can't really afford to give up minutes to see if a guy can grow into his own. I wouldn't be surprised if he does a stitch in the D League at some point too.
No, me either. Because again, those guys, like those key guys, are going to get healthy. Markel Fultz is going to get healthy, and who else did you say?
Jalen Suggs.
Then Jalen Suggs is going to get healthy, and those guys are going to come back, and they're going to those minutes got to go to somewhere.
Yep. Moving on to the Washington Wizards with the 7th overall pick, we had Bilal Calipali out of France. He's averaging 8.7 points per game, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists. He's shooting it over his last 10 games, 54% from the field, 31% from three-point line, and 79% from the free throw line, averaging 9 points per game. He's played in all but one of the Wizards games so far this season. He's averaging over 26 minutes per game, which is, I think, the highest number of minutes we've seen out of any of the rookies we talked about so far on today's show. I mean, he's shooting. I mean, he's been pretty good for the Washington Wizards on a team that's not good at all this season so far.
And that's why no one was talking about Bilal Coulibaly, right? Victor Wembanyama did all the vouching for him that he could, right? And like he tried to tell them, like, yo, my teammate is better than all the guys after me. Right? He tried to tell him, he tried to vouch for him, but they weren't trying to hear that shit. And
got his first double-double last night against the Brooklyn Nets. 11 points, 10 rebounds, shot at 50% from the three-point line, and over 67% from the field. So,
I think we can well, I'll wait till we're done with all of them. But so, like, if you're Bilal Coulibaly, like, again, you're in a bad situation. No one's talking about the Wizards. Everybody's talking about Jordan Poole, but nobody's talking about the Wizards.
Well, they're not talking about Jordan Poole for anything good.
Exactly. Well, same thing. Same thing. Like that. Everybody's talking about Jordan Poole, but nobody's talking about the Wizards. And if you ever get a chance to watch Gilbert Arenas' show or his podcast, where it's him, Rashad McCants, Brandon Jennings, and sometimes um, Rasheed Wallace be on there. Sometimes Kenyon Martin be on there, and they talk like, bro, when they get going, like you ever get a chance, like look up the clip where they talk about Jordan Poole and how no, like Jordan Poole, the grass ain't always greener, bro. Like it's easy to get 30 when you got Steph, Clay, and Draymond on the like around you, and they drawing all this goddamn attention, and nobody's focusing on you. When you're in Washington and you're the guy, you're on everybody's scouting report now, right? So Bilal Coulibaly, like Scoot Henderson, bro, just keep hoping. It'll come.
Yeah.
It'll
I
come.
mean, he already had double in his last game. You know, the sky's the limit for this kid, as long as he continues to play hard. He's also a pretty young player. He doesn't turn 20 until July. So
Yeah, just keep hoping, bro. That's all you gotta do.
to the 8th pick, we got Jarris Walker. He has not played much at all this season. 5 games played. He only played 8 minutes in those games, averaging 3 points a game, 1 assist, and basically 2 rebounds there for the Indiana Pacers. He's only played 2 games in their last 10. I think this is a product of Indiana competing, being a really good basketball team, and not really having the minutes to let a guy develop
There you go.
from.
No, you just said it. There you go. Like you literally just said what it is, right? So like you got a Indiana team, they're competing, and also if you add him to the mix, you have a log jam, right? You got Obi Toppin, you got Miles Turner, you got Jalen Smith, the guy that Phoenix drafted and he never played. You got him, and you got some other bigs and forwards. Like that's what it is. It's like, and again, you got a veteran head coach and Rick Carlisle, where it's like, I'm not just going to play you because you're a rookie or you're a high draft pick.
You have to earn minutes. Hopefully, let him go to the G League. We had some high hopes for him when he was first drafted in the NBA. We thought he'd have we thought he might hit the ground.
I don't think. No, yeah, they do. Fort Wayne. I'm tripping. I was gonna say I don't think the Pacers. I was gonna say I don't think the Pacers have a G League team. I'm like, wait, yeah, they do.
No, we don't.
Fort Wayne.
No, the Mad Ants don't play in Fort Wayne anymore.
Where do they play at now?
They play at Noblesville. They're going to be changing their team name next season.
Still G League for the Pacers, right?
Yeah. But yeah, it's not in Fort Wayne anymore. They don't play. They play in Noblesville. They're getting they're building some sort of. Actually, you know what? They actually play at Bankers Farm Fieldhouse right now, I think.
Old Pacers Stadium?
No, they can't. They play somewhere in Noblesville. But the Mad Ants don't play in Indiana in Fort Wayne anymore.
That's kind of sad.
Yeah, I actually went to.
You went to a game, didn't you?
No, I never made it to a game, but I did go to that stadium for a concert this past week. Actually, that is quite the venue. Let me tell you, it's pretty cool.
Jarris Walker is like he's on a Pacer team that just so happened to be competing this year. They're actually really goddamn. They're fairly decent. They're not an easy win anymore.
No,
right? They're not an easy win anymore, and when you got a coach like Rick Carlisle, I think anybody who's played under Rick Carlisle can attest to rookies don't play just because they're high draft picks. Like you gotta cut your teeth, you gotta earn your minutes with him.
Moving on to Taylor Hendricks, I'm not really sure. He's listed as healthy on their team. He's only played in 4 games this season. He's played 14 minutes for this team per game, averaging 4 points. 1.3 rebounds, 30% from the field, 30% from the three-point line. He's shooting at 50% from the charity stripe. He played 12 minutes last night. He had 1 steal and 1 turnover. He did not attempt a shot. He did not attempt a free throw. This is a bad Jazz team, and when you want to find out if this kid can play, why are you only playing him 14 minutes a night, and why is he only played in 4 games this year?
What position is he?
I mean, he's a power forward. And I understand, you got Lauri Markkanen and John Collins and Walker Kessler. But, I mean,
No, no,
Uh,
I'm with you. I'm with you. Especially now because you have as a Jazz team, you have regressed into the sun fast. I did like the drop off was bad, bro. I did not see this one coming. Like not like this. Um, yeah, they're not. I don't know what it is. Like it's just not good. Coincidence, John Collins gets
yeah,
added. Coincidence, John Collins gets added to the team, and all of a sudden they just can't do stuff
I mean,
anymore.
they were, they
No,
were, they were, they were, they
I'm
were,
joking. I'm joking. I'm joking.
they weren't good last season either. After they
They were.
started out pretty hot.
They were fans. They were better than this.
I mean,
Like Larry Martin pretty much
but
had most.
all their players on their roster are just so inconsistent.
Like Larry Martin pretty much had most improved wrapped up by like that. We kind of came to the conclusion like by Christmas, like yo, Larry most improved is Larry Martin's award to lose, and yeah. So
Laurie Markkinen's only played in 15 games this season, so he's missed
seven,
seven of the games. But when he's played, he's been pretty efficient. I mean, 50% from the field, 40% from the 3-point line, 85% from the charity stripe.
yeah, I'm with you, man. Like that second unit, I don't know who's in that second unit. I don't know why he wouldn't be, because you're not gonna play.
It's Simone Fontecchio. I'm not sure who even that is. Kelly Olynyk. I'm playing him over at Kelly Olynyk. That's for sure.
I mean, I might even play him with Kelly Olynyk. Just move one of those guys. Got to be a five. Just play. Just do that. Again, I'm with you on certain aspects, right? Like, hey, you at some point in time, you gotta see what you got in these young dudes. You can't do that if you just constantly because, like you said, with the G League is what you call it. It's misleading, right? Take a guy like Dalen Terry. Dalen Terry cannot crack the Bulls rotation to save his life. But when they put him down in the G League, hey, what we getting? 25, 7, and 8. It's like, but no, you're not doing that up here. You're not doing that up here. I
Yeah,
don't get
there's not a lot of people watching those games, so the level of adversity that you're playing against is really not there. It's when you go. So, to the final guy, let's talk about Kason Wallace. He's played in 21 of. So he played all but one. He's played in every game for the Oklahoma City Thunder this season. He's averaging 7.5 points, 60% from the field, over 50% from the 3-point line. He's shooting it over 80% from the charity stripe.
that man
His
got a torch. That man
yeah.
got like all right, okay. So I know it's the first game of the season, but they play the all right. They play the Bulls, right? Season over, first game of the season. When I said what's his Dag note used everybody, that man used everybody. Everybody got the first 12 minutes of the game, he used everybody. Everybody got some burn. And obviously, like you got your you got your usual suspects. You got your SGA. You got Lou Dort. Now
Chet
you add
Holmgren.
Chet Home. Right now you add Chet Holmgren to the mix, and it's just like, all right. But then you throw Kassan Wallace in there, and he just somehow always found himself wide open on the 3-point line. And it's just like he hit one, and then he hit another one, and you might want to, I don't know,
Check that
find
guy.
him. Yeah, all right, you might want to find him. He seems like the type where it's like, hey, all he needs to do is see one go in, and then all of a sudden, it's on the popping for him. But again, situation's kind of different. You got just like in Orlando, you got a young Thunder team that's really goddamn good. You got an MVP candidate in SGA, and Mark that and Dagno has shown, hey, I'm not afraid to play my young guys. I'll play them.
Yeah,
Underestimate them if you want to.
because it's crazy when Wallace came out of college, he was really more known as a defensive player. He may still be that guy, but he has been absolutely killing it from the 3-point line, shooting it 60% from the three. That's called hitting the
That's
ground running for
unheard
sure.
of.
Yeah,
That's unheard of, bro. Folks, like
I
just
mean
to,
his first 3 games of the season, he did not miss a 3-pointer. I mean, he only took 5, but still, like,
But like again, like that's just like unheard of. Like I think with all these guys, it's again from the first overall pick to the 10th. You got one guy averaging a double double. Then you got another guy who's just, hey, you're like this is your role, right? Your role, like you might not. You may play a lot this game, you might not play at all. It depends on the matchup. It depends on the team we play. It might be like, hey, I might need a spark. Can you give me a spark? And so on and so forth.
how about players outside the top 10 that you think would be interesting to just kind of talk about when it comes
Oh, real,
to?
just real quick. Like he's not like he probably won't make a lot of headlines because he was a second round draft pick, but just to bring it home, just to stay home, Julian Phillips has been here 6 months, and he's found a way to crack Billy Donovan's rotation more than the first round draft pick Dalen Terry has in 2 years. Just think about that. Um, Other than that, but just to make this about the Bulls. Other than that, no, I can't really think of. I'm not trying to be like disrespectful to like those other guys because again they work their asses off. You got a guy like what you call it, Minnesota drafted the dude. What's his name? Leonard Miller. Where is he at? G League. All right, but at the same time, if you're Minnesota, I don't think you expect to be number one in the West right now. But
Yeah, I mean, some people may have predicted that, but not anyone on this panel. But yeah, I mean, we got to see what the rookie class ends up looking like. We'll be talking about this more as the season continues. And also Jaime Jaquez for the
yeah,
if Izzy were here. If Jaime Jaquez, if Izzy were here, you'd be talking about Jaime Jaquez. So give Jaime Jaquez a little bit of a shout out. He's been running a lot of their second unit stuff. Also, Eric Spoelstra has him in crunch time. So obviously there's some faith and some trust there. So
like Derek Lively down in Dallas, who was 12th overall. Like that man, he had a 20-16 game the other day for the Mavericks. Right, he balling. Just go back to Utah. Keontae George, I think he's their starting. Does he start for them?
yep, he's the only player on that team I think is untouchable.
Brandon. Also, is here Brandon Pajinski for Golden State.
Jordan
He
Hawkins for the Hawks? No.
Market. Who?
Pelicans. I'm gonna have to look that
Oh
up
yeah,
now.
yeah. I know you talking about. I know you. Jordan Hawkins. Yeah. Jordan Hawkins. Yeah. You got him. You got Grady Dick up in Toronto, like who's fluctuated back and forth between Toronto and their G League affiliate. Excuse me. So like, yeah, it's a deep class.
Yeah.
It's a,
Moving on from there, let's talk about a staple of the crossover and GOAT talk. TJ, you got a GOAT talk for us today?
yeah, it's as opposed to teams. I mean, as opposed to players, it's two teams.
Okay.
Both. So like, it's real simple. Both teams went to the finals. Both teams lost in 6 games. Team number one is the '98 Utah Jazz, and we already know who the main components of that team is. Head coach Jerry Sloan, best player Karl Malone. You got John Stockton, Havlicek. You got Greg Oystertag. You got Byron Russell, so on and so forth. The other team.
What was the name of the kid coming up? They came off their bench. That was it Isley?
Go. Howard Easley, Isley, yeah. You had him, and then their counterparts in this is the also record for the '98 Jazz was 62-20. Their counterparts is the '06 Dallas Mavericks. Head coach Avery Johnson, best player Dirt, Jason Terry, Josh Howard, Marquise Daniels, Jerry Stackhouse, Adrian Griffin, Keith Van Horn, Eric Dampier, Devin Harris. They went 60-22. Obviously, again, they both lost to the finals. One team lost to the Chicago Bulls. The other team lost to
Lost the Flash to the Dwayne Wade led
yeah, one
Miami Heat and Shaq.
and Shaq and
They won
Toronto.
the first two games of that series, and then were gentlemanly swept out of the rest of that series as Dwayne Wade went on an absolute tear during that series.
And so did Tim Donaghy. So did Tim Donaghy. So we don't somehow, some way that gets swept under the rug that Tim Donaghy was betting on those games.
Yeah, because everybody talks about the Sacramento Kings teams that got screwed over. That Mavericks team in 06 maybe got the shaft too. And you know what's crazy? The season after them.
Oh my god. Oh, hey, so I'm sorry. I was on again. We're on Shohei watch. He just got the
Yeah.
biggest. He just got the biggest contract in baseball history. 10 years, $700 million.
Oh, jeez.
But anyway, back to the go talk.
$70 million a year. Yeah, this is pretty easy for me. I think it's the 06 Dallas Mavericks. I think that Dirk team, like I think that team was historically good. So yeah, I'm gonna go the 06 Mavericks.
Um, I do. I
think also it's crazy that the 06 Mavericks the next season they got beat by that Warriors team as one of the first number one seeds to ever get bounced by a 7 seed.
And they were
ever.
and they were better.
It might have been the first team ever to do that actually.
And they were better. And they were better the next year. Didn't they win like 60 some? Didn't they win like?
Yeah, they were the
plus?
they were the number one seed in the West. So whatever their record was.
So yeah, I'm gonna agree with you. I'm gonna take that Mavericks team too. For the most part, it's because of the contributions alone. All right, so what am I talking about? So you got Dirk Nowitzki, right? 26-9. Then the second best was Jason Terry. Jason Jet was giving you 17 a game. Josh Howard was giving you 15.
And Josh Howard was so good. Josh Howard was so good before the injuries took over his career.
Man,
like Josh Howard was so good.
Marquise Daniels was giving you 10. Jerry Stackhouse was giving you 13. And you also got to remember this. This was a young Devin Harris.
Yeah, this is right after the. I don't remember the trade with the Nets that sent him there. Off the top of my head right now, but
I don't either. This was young Devin Harris, right? He was basically giving you 10 a game. So you had 1, 2, 3, 4. You got 5 guys in double figures, that average double figures, and then you go to the Utah Jazz, right? Obviously, Karl Malone, you know what you're getting out of him. You're getting 27 and 10, and then it's a precipitous drop off. Jeff Hornacek was giving you 14, and John Stockton was giving you 12 and 8. The next closest was Byron Russell with 9, and it's a bunch of 9s, 7s, 7s, 8s. So I think just the scoring output alone makes that 06 Mavs team better.
Yeah,
I think
it goes 7, but you know.
Oh yeah, it goes 7 because Jerry Sloan ain't no dummy. Jerry Sloan ain't no dummy. He'd have figured out some kind of matchup to slow them to slow that down, because I also think about this. So like obviously what Dirk and Karl Malone, that's basically
a wash.
That's a wash. One gives you 26, the other gives you 27, 26 and 9, 27 and 10. Dirk was one of those dudes where it's like, yeah, that's by this point, one guy's an MVP, the other guy's an MVP. Yeah, it's a wash. Jeff Hornacek was giving you 14. Jet Terry was giving you 17. Advantage Jet Terry. Who else did I say? Josh Howard was giving you 15. John Stockton was giving you 12. Advantage.
Yeah, we were also talking about John Stockton with double-digit assists, but yeah, I'm still taking the 06 Mavericks team. That Mavericks team.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But yeah, let us know what you think down in the comment section. 06 Mavericks or 98 Utah Jazz, who both teams lost in 6 games in the NBA Finals. But yeah, thank you very much for checking us out here at Prime Sports World. This has been our in-season tournament edition. Please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. I'm David Hubbin, my co-host right there, Mr. TJ Hopkins. And gentlemen, what we do here at the Prime, my friend?
We bring the heat concert.
Man, it is beautiful right now in Fort Wayne, man. Like it's like shorts weather outside.
For you, no, I ain't gonna lie. Like I went to the gym this morning. I wore short. All right, then I went to the store because I left the gym in shorts, and then I went to the store. Like I pretty much wore shorts all this morning until I came back home.
Yeah, so yeah, it's been shorts weather outside, TJ. We'll be back here on Monday, breaking down week number 14 of the National Football League. Crazy to think there's only 5 weeks left of the season, so take it easy, man.
That shit said 10 years, 700 million.